Hello, this is Kate, and this is your weekly oracle card reading for Monday, October 24th through to Sunday, October 30th. So today I'm going to be using the Life Purpose oracle cards by Doreen. And to start things off, I'll turn over the first card. Okay, so this is representing Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week, and it's the card of study, and it says reading, research. Actually, I'll just zoom in on there. Reading, research, and education help you gain confidence and clarity about your career. So this deck of cards is kind of focused towards career and life purpose. And so near the beginning of the week is a really good time if you are considering a career change, or if you're considering going further in a particular career. It's a good time to do some research and reading and really look into what kind of education you might need or what kind of courses you want to take. So this is a very mental, kind of intellectual card, meaning that the beginning of the week is a really nice time to capitalize on your intellectual abilities. So it's not a bad thing to be kind of stuck in your head at this point. So being very rational, being very mentally focused, and really kind of tuning into your intellectual capacities to make really wise, well thought out decisions. So just emphasizing that it's very important to really do your research if you're considering a particular line of work. So doing your own reading and studying up on something, but also interviewing people who are in that particular career and actually really networking and talking with people and getting a better idea of what your ideal career is all about. Okay, so moving on to the middle of the week, we've got time to decide. Okay. This is a really pretty card, and it says, make a decision based on your heart's true desires. So Wednesday, Thursday of next week is going to be the time to really kind of focus, and if there's something that you've been holding off making a decision on, now is the right time to make that decision. And if you're still feeling quite torn and unable to really choose a side or make a choice, the card is encouraging you to focus on your heart's true desires. So focusing on what feels right for you. And this is, of course, easier said than done, especially if you have maybe a variety of different options or choices to make, and they might all seem pretty good. And I think maybe just sort of focusing a little bit on the future and trying to think of what it is that you're really wanting and getting clear on that. And getting clear on what that would feel like for you to have those things. So getting kind of more attuned to that particular vibration of what it is that you're wanting. And then go back to your choices or the decisions that you're trying to make and see if you can, if that helps, if that allows you to approach things with more of a clear understanding of things. But it's definitely a good time to make some decisions in the middle of this coming week. Okay, so moving on to the end of the week, so the weekend, and we've got counseling. Oh, I like this card. Okay, and this card says, you heal with kind words, wise advice, and an empathetic ear. So you might find yourself kind of falling into that role of counselor this weekend. So whether it's with family or friends or others, co-workers perhaps, you might find yourself in that role. And usually people that find themselves in that counseling role are people that are good listeners, who are very non-judgmental, and who may or may not give advice, but if they do give advice, it's very well thought out, very wise advice. And so it's important here, if you do find yourself in that counseling role, not to so much give advice as telling other people what they should do, and not so much giving your opinion, but encouraging those people to kind of come to their own understanding of what they need to do on their own. So not so much imposing your own ideas upon them, but getting them to kind of delve into their own resources and find out what's right for them. But also another kind of warning with this card is self-care. So if you find yourself feeling drained by others' problems, perhaps if you have a lot of people coming to you with their issues, you might find this draining and you might sort of need a break from it. And it's important to honor that and to acknowledge that and to realize that you're not a bad person if you don't necessarily want to listen to other people's problems in your free time. And you have to be kind of very vigilant about how you feel. So if someone comes to you with their issues and you feel very much energized by the idea of listening to them and helping them through something, then that's a very positive sign for you and that you can go forward with that role. But if you feel very kind of drained and like, oh God, no, when someone comes to you with their issues, then that's kind of a good internal message that it's time for you to kind of step back and take care of yourself and take some time to yourself, and that being in that counseling role isn't right for you at this time. Okay, so doing a quick recap of all those cards. The beginning of the week is a nice time to be very rational, focused, to really do our research, to do our reading, to talk to people, and really get to know more about our chosen career path. And then moving on to the middle of the week, time to decide. So a good time to make decisions. If you've been feeling indecisive, now is the right time to decide, and always kind of going with your gut instinct on things and following your heart's desire. So not making decisions based on what other people think or making decisions on what makes rational sense. Even though, you're in a very rational kind of intellectual place at the beginning of the week, you really want to get back into the heart in the middle of the week and get back into following your heart's desires and not so much the head's desires. And then moving on to the weekend, the weekend is all about counseling. So whether that's counseling your friends, your family, your neighbors, or even yourself, it's all about kind of being a good listener, being very empathic, non-judgmental, and allowing others to come to their own conclusions on their own. So not necessarily imposing your worldview on another, and just being vigilant of how you're feeling in that counseling role. If it's something that feels good to you, or if you need to step back and do some self-care and take care of yourself. Okay, so this has been your reading. My name is Kate, and thank you so much for joining me, and have a good week.